And in today's presentation, I will present you my research proposal, which is teaching strategies to be used in order to engage teenage students in oral communication. My advisor is Professor Diego. And first, I would like to introduce you with the main characteristics of this research. It must be said that it was based on Colegio Maryland in Puente Alto district. Some considerations must be established. First of all, that from the theoretical point of view, and there are different sources of information regarding teaching strategies, and then from the empirical point of view, what is really important is that the observation inside the classroom from the researcher, and from my practical experience, I realized that communication is really needed inside the learning process. So I realized that this group of students didn't communicate each other by using the language. That's why I wrote lack of communication. And I decided to look for those strategies. So the research question is, what are the possible teaching strategies to be used in order to engage teenage students in oral communication inside a Chilean EFL classroom? And by then, the general objective is to identify those teaching strategies, and the two specific objectives are to classify them and apply those strategies. In addition, the assumptions are based on that teaching strategies can engage Chilean students in oral communication, and that these different strategies can be applied inside the classroom. Moreover, it must be said that the two main variables are the teaching strategies and the oral communication. Regarding the former, it must be said that according to Larsen Freeman's 2000 book, which is called Techniques and Principles in Language Teaching, they define lots of teaching strategies and methods that focus on different areas, but here I wrote the ones which are related to this study, which are communicative language teaching, cooperative learning, and decent behavior. Regarding the later, oral communication is defined as the change of information from one person to another person. And here, this is a general definition, and here, as you can see, it is an example, the communicative approach, which bears defining it as a necessary tool inside the classroom. That's why it must be said that it is an interpretative paradigm, because there are different sources and explanations and definitions. As Jensen 2002 says, the aim is to understand phenomena through the meanings people assign to them. It means to create an understanding of the context by having different types of information. Here I wrote professors and teachers' interpretation, because I was thinking that one teacher has a particular group of students, and another teacher another group of students, and those students do not have the same learning abilities and skills. So the method this teacher will use is not the same that this teacher uses inside the classroom. It changes according to the student's needs. Then the design, it is a case study, because it studies a particular situation and based on a specific group of people. This qualitative research gathers information not from numerical form, and the natural setting is a direct source of data, in this case the classroom, and the researcher is the key instrument, meaning that is the person in charge of collecting data by observing. The procedure is the research question first, then the analysis techniques, the collection of data, observation, analyze the data by triangulation, which means that the sources of information are compared, and then some conclusions can be stated. The sample and setting, as I told you before, it was Colegio Maryland. It is a particular subsidized school. The group of students are 11th grade students. The school has an institutional education project which are based on helping those students who have present problems when in the process of learning. And the educational goals are they want the students to develop the intellectual, physical, emotional, and social skills, and they are also focused on the importance of values and the role of the family, as one of my classmates explained, Felipe, I think, that the role of parents is very important for the school. There are 34 students in the classroom. They all were born in between 1998 and 2000. Regarding the space of the classroom, it is a really comfortable space with natural lighting and enough for the amount of the students, because this is the only course who have 34 students. The other courses have no more than 30. The materials, first it was changed because it was an interview, but then the two experts suggested me to write some general aspects and in the form of a Likert scale, because it could give more a clearer idea. As you can see, the first question is, do they ask questions by using third language? They are all part of from what the teacher can observe. Propose analysis techniques in the observation matrices. So they have to be compared in order what the teacher, the researcher objectives. And credibility involves that mentioning that all the resources from the research are reliable, so all this information was taken from theory. And dependability, that the context sometimes can change. It changed because the researcher also changed the object of study. And confirmability, because if one teacher wants to study something similar, they can achieve the same interpretations. Finally, the contributions to the field are based on, for example, if one teacher shared this investigation, it can be shared with other teachers, and because of their experiences, and it can be helpful for them to apply in the classroom. The expected results is that students can communicate in English, and the limitations varies because of the students' personalities and the students' anxiety, etc. That's the end of the presentation.